Trouble sleeping despite feeling exhausted is one of the most troubling early signs of imbalance in both body and brain. It is a warning that the natural rhythm controlling rest, repair, and cognitive recovery is beginning to malfunction. When a person feels bone tired but still cannot drift into sleep, or falls asleep only to wake up repeatedly through the night, it signals more than just stress or poor habits. It may reflect deeper neurological and hormonal disruptions that directly influence mental aging, emotional stability, and long-term brain health. Persistent insomnia weakens the brain's nightly repair cycle. During deep sleep, neurons remove waste products, reorganize memories, and restore energy reserves. When this cycle is broken, the result is cumulative cellular fatigue, reduced memory consolidation, and accelerated cognitive wear. Over time, these interruptions in sleep architecture can alter neurotransmitter balance, increase cortisol levels, and even cause structural shrinkage in key brain areas such as the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. Many people ignore early sleep problems, assuming that fatigue will eventually force the body to rest, but the opposite often happens. The longer poor sleep continues, the more resistant the brain becomes to natural restoration. It enters a vicious cycle in which exhaustion fuels anxiety, anxiety worsens sleeplessness, and chronic wakefulness amplifies oxidative stress and inflammation. This internal strain is subtle but corrosive. It affects the mitochondria responsible for neuronal energy production, leading to slower thought, shorter attention span, and irritability during the day. When neurons cannot properly clear toxins like beta amyloid, something that happens primarily during deep sleep, the risk of neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's disease increases sharply. Thus, insomnia is not only a nuisance, it is a biological stressor capable of triggering long-term cognitive decline. The negative consequences reach far beyond memory. Chronic sleep disruption destabilizes the body's entire circadian system, impairing hormonal control over appetite, mood, and immune function. People who consistently sleep less than 6 hours are more prone to high blood pressure, insulin resistance, and mood disorders. The immune system weakens, leaving the brain more vulnerable to infections and inflammation that further degrade cognitive resilience. Emotional control also declines. Fatigue amplifies fear and frustration responses in the amygdala while dulling rational processing in the prefrontal cortex. That is why insomnia so often leads to overreaction, forgetfulness, and a general feeling of being mentally off. Even young adults who experience long bouts of poor sleep show early signs of reduced hippocampal activity, suggesting that cognitive aging may begin decades earlier than expected if rest is chronically disrupted. One of the most overlooked causes of sleepless fatigue is excessive evening exposure to artificial light, particularly from phones, televisions, and computers. Blue light interferes with melatonin production, delaying the body's natural sleep onset. Over time, this digital overstimulation confuses the brain's internal clock, making it harder to differentiate night from day. What begins as a minor inconvenience can evolve into persistent insomnia, especially when combined with late-night caffeine or irregular eating schedules. The brain then remains in a state of partial alertness throughout the night, unable to fully relax, leaving the person trapped in light, non-restorative sleep. This is why many wake up feeling more tired than before they went to bed. Nutrient depletion also contributes to this cycle. Magnesium deficiency is particularly common in people with chronic stress, caffeine use, or processed diets. Magnesium is essential for muscle relaxation, nervous system balance, and GABA receptor function, the same pathway sedatives act upon to induce calmness. Without adequate magnesium, the nervous system stays hyperexcited, preventing the deep relaxation needed for sustained sleep. Including magnesium-rich foods such as almonds, pumpkin seeds, leafy greens, avocados, and whole grains can restore this mineral gradually. However, improvement requires consistency, as restoring cellular magnesium takes weeks, not days. Herbal teas such as chamomile or valerian can aid sleep through mild natural sedative effects, but they are most effective when combined with broader lifestyle correction. A major obstacle for many is irregular sleep timing. The human circadian rhythm is delicate, relying on predictable cycles of light, temperature, and activity. Going to bed and waking up at inconsistent hours confuses the system, diminishing melatonin output and leaving the brain uncertain about when to repair itself. Over months, the misalignment leads to social jet lag, in which the body's clock is perpetually out of sync with its environment. The result is chronic fatigue, difficulty focusing, and increased risk of depression. Reestablishing a consistent bedtime, even if sleep duration does not improve immediately, helps re-anchor this rhythm and promotes gradual normalization of sleep hormones. Still, there are darker implications to prolonged sleep deprivation that people often underestimate. When insomnia becomes a nightly pattern, neurons begin losing their ability to recover from oxidative damage. The glymphatic system, responsible for cleaning out metabolic waste from brain tissue, slows dramatically. Toxins that should be flushed each night remain embedded, irritating and inflaming delicate neural structures. Over years, this silent buildup contributes to memory gaps, delayed verbal recall, and early cognitive decay. Worse, chronic sleeplessness intensifies anxiety and depressive symptoms, trapping the individual in a feedback loop that blurs the line between psychological distress and physical brain exhaustion. Breaking this cycle requires deliberate, disciplined intervention rather than hope that the problem will resolve on its own. A structured nighttime routine, dimming lights an hour before bed, avoiding electronic screens, and eating the final meal at least 2 hours before sleep, can reteach the body when to unwind. Gentle stretching or warm baths may help relax tense muscles and signal the nervous system to slow down. Avoiding caffeine after mid-afternoon and reducing alcohol are crucial, since both interfere with deep sleep even if they cause temporary drowsiness. Setting a cool, dark, and quiet environment also aids the body's natural sleep cues. It's equally important to treat underlying psychological or medical conditions that disturb rest. Thyroid dysfunction, chronic pain, hormonal imbalance, or anxiety disorders can all contribute to nocturnal wakefulness. Seeking professional help early prevents the nervous system from becoming conditioned to sleeplessness. For some, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, offers a lasting solution by retraining thought patterns that associate the bed with wakefulness or frustration. The danger of ignoring persistent insomnia lies in how quietly it erodes both health and identity. Fatigue changes the way we think, remember, and feel, making us more impulsive, pessimistic, and forgetful. It steals not only energy but also clarity and motivation. Sleep is not a luxury. It is the foundation upon which emotional stability and cognitive longevity depend. To experience exhaustion but remain awake night after night is not normal aging. It is an alarm from the brain demanding care. If we continue to silence it, the cost may eventually be irreversible: premature cognitive decline, metabolic disorder, and emotional burnout. But by addressing it now, with discipline, nutrition, and respect for the body's natural rhythms, it is possible to restore the deep, healing rest that sustains memory, mood, and life itself.